Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about something that can literally bring the digital world to a standstill. A massive AWS outage. See, if you have ever experienced your favorite applications like Snapchat, Reddit or even banking application, they stop working, then there is a very good chance that Amazon Web Services or AWS is behind it. Now, AWS is like the invisible backbone of the internet. Invisible backbone of the internet. From startups in Bangalore to global giants like Netflix, everyone uses AWS for hosting, storage, and cloud computing their applications. So when AWS sneezes, the whole internet catches a cold. So what exactly happened yesterday? Yesterday, a major outage hit the AWS's US East 1 region, and that is one of the biggest and oldest data centers based in Virginia, USA. And when that went down, thousands of applications across globe, thousands of application websites went down with it. Even companies in India that don't directly use AWS were also affected. Do you know the reason? Because sometimes their vendors like payment gateways or partner APIs, they are deployed on AWS. See, think of it like this. If a single power grid in the US fails and your office loses connectivity, it sounds crazy, but that's how global and interconnected the internet really is. Now the question is, why did one region affect the whole world? Here is the thing. The internet today is like a Jenga tower. Every company builds their application on other services. So basically they are interconnected. And those services depend on other systems. So if one crucial block like AWS, US East 1 falls, it can completely knock out many other services as well. If you talk about Indian banks online portal, for example SBI portal, they might rely on a security service that is hosted on AWS US East region. And your food delivery app, that might also depend on a payment API that might be hosted in the AWS cloud. So basically, because of that, whenever one region fails, there is a domino effect. Even if the Indian servers are fine, the apps still crash because you might have one piece of the puzzle that is missing, maybe that is deployed in that particular service of AWS in that region. And if we look at this from an what we call Indian IT or computer science perspective, our technical ecosystem from companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro to startups based in Gurgaon, Pune, they heavily relies on the global cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. And many Indian companies host their critical workloads in foreign data centers because they are faster to set up and are very cheap to scale. That also means that when something happens in the US, your Indian business can still go down. This is why India is now talking about digital sovereignty, or in simple terms, having better control and independence over our data and infrastructure. We already have AWS regions in Mumbai and Hyderabad, and Google and Azure have data centers in Hyderabad and Mumbai too. But companies still use US or European regions because of their cost saving, legacy dependencies, or just convenience because they are the older systems that are currently running on those data centers. So how do we actually fix this kind of failures? Two words: redundancy and resilience. So redundancy basically means having backup systems, not just multiple servers, but multiple regions, multiple providers. For example, if your primary system is on AWS Mumbai, you can keep a backup on other cloud providers like in Azure or GCP. And resilience means testing what happens when one of them fails. So you are better prepared for any kind of failures in future. Something many companies skip until it's too late. In technology terms, it's called failover strategy. Failover strategy. We basically test the code for bugs every day, but how many teams test what happens when the your cloud provider like AWS itself fails? Exactly. Now, the question comes to my mind like, should these cloud services be regulated like your electricity? Because this outage reignites a huge debate. Should the big cloud providers like AWS be treated as a critical infrastructure like power or water? Think about it. If AWS goes down, your banking, your healthcare, your logistics, and your government systems can also stop if they have a dependency on that particular cloud provider, and that's a serious problem. So yes, many experts believe that platforms should face stronger audits, transparency requirements, and fail-safe obligations for that particular country. It's not just a technical issue anymore, it's about national security and digital independence. If you are an engineer, architect, or a student in the IT field, this is your wake up call. You should always learn how distributed systems, multi region deployments, and disaster recovery actually work. And you should understand tools like Terraform, Kubernetes, and load balancers that can help build resilient systems. Because when you design for failures, you don't fear outages. And that is the kind of mindset that will make you stand out in your next job interview. See, AWS or any other cloud provider, they are incredibly reliable, and that's exactly why these rare outages make headlines. But as our digital life depend on more and more on the cloud, we cannot afford to treat these one-off events. Every company, from small startup to large enterprises, they need to plan for what if AWS goes down scenarios, because it's not just about downtime anymore. It's about digital resilience in a connected world. Thanks for watching.